Good evening. I am Festive Wotan, and this is the Noscript Show.
Da 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 da. So yeah, this is the point where we play like the happy music. Um, we need a
I'm
jingle, dude. We need a jingle for this show. That's what we need.
that's what I'm personally upset because I'm not going to SantaCon this year in New York City. Like that's like my favorite thing ever.
Hold up, back the fuck up for like 2 seconds. SantaCon,
Yes,
really?
it's a thing.
Well, okay, tell me about SantaCon.
Okay, so have you ever wanted one of the most populous metropolitan and high income cities in America to be filled with thousands of 18 to 35 year olds getting drunk off their asses dressed up like Santa for an entire day, all in the name of supposed charity while puking their guts out and shitting their guts out on the street corners?
Yeah.
If yes, then Santa Claus is you. It originally started out as a genuine charity thing, and then over time, like people just kind of made it more of a party thing. They used to like march for like kids' toys and stuff, but then some drinking got mixed in, and New York City, like it's amazing. Like by 10 a.m., I remember being at what was it? I think it was some department store. It was a department store near Macy's, not Macy's itself, but it was some store. I think it was Durell or Do Something Pharmacy, and I was picking up a new Santa suit. And I remember exiting one of the subway stations, and there was a kid there. He can't have been over 24, and it was 10 a.m. and the dude was already fucking wrecked. Yeah, totally. His mates like carrying him through the subway. I'm like, hey guys, maybe pacing. Like it's.
You know what? I would hope that they're at least of Irish descent because I know that the Irish can drink like they want to die. So that I could understand. But okay, SantaCon. Look, I mean, why not? Why fucking not have a convention for a character basically invented by the Coca-Cola company? Let's do it.
Hey, only commies hate Christmas, man.
Oh yeah, with all the red branding everywhere and Santa that
Hey,
knows if you're naughty or nice. Really, are we doing this, dude?
And the free stuff.
There's
But still, only commies hate Christmas. Okay.
I hope you still have that meme I sent you at some point, or like the checklist between like Santa Claus and Joseph Stalin, because there is no difference. Um, hopefully, it comes up in the rotation again. All right, so. Yeah, shit. It has been the longest week that I in like recent memory. So like we were just talking about, like today, it's hard to fathom that Stan Lee has been dead for less than a week, because it feels like it was a month ago.
Yeah.
Absolute time warp. So it's not just me. Like this is objectively a thing now. We're just living in like an accelerated time.
Yeah, we've coined it. It's the Trump time warp. That's what it is. Ever since the man's election, some weird shift has happened to time for humanity.
No, my God, it has. So anyway, it's going to be next week Tuesday that marks my 1 month anniversary from rage quitting Twitter. So I sat down today and actually kind of assessed, what the last month has been like. And what's crazy is it hasn't felt any slower, like everything is still fast, even though I'm not constantly getting information about it.
Well, rage quitting.
Yeah, it's like I still, like the funny thing is, and I think I told you this and I might have said this before, very few people actually send me stuff. It's like maybe 2 people have messaged me stuff on Twitter in like the last month. Everything else is like WhatsApp voice notes mostly now.
I got you, fam.
Thanks, man. Yeah. But then there was an article published. There's this great sort of investment and game theory site called epsilontheory.com, where it's like a bunch of, I want to say like maverick analysts, because that's kind of what they are. They just take a very different approach to the way they look at things. And one of the guys wrote an article about social media, a game of you. And I'll link it in the video description because it's a very good read. And it points out how a lot of engagement on social media is actually synthetic and it's performative. And the example he uses was the Kavanaugh confirmations. Do you remember the Kavanaugh confirmations?
No, but my beer count does. Keg City, bro.
Yeah, so that was, yeah, that was just like, it was like 5 weeks ago. So it's like ancient history now, right?
And you'd think it was the fucking apocalypse when it happened.
Yeah, and it's like against all odds, society hasn't fallen apart. So, you know, how bad was it really? But he uses that as a classic example because those
women are not being turned into the Handmaid's Tale, as far as I can tell.
Yeah, or maybe it's just a cover up, and the big government is lying to us. But
True.
But the interesting thing is that that was the first time that he had observed that two people can look at the same set of information and come to wildly different conclusions. So at the peak of the Kavanaugh blow up, there were people who were absolutely convinced he was the worst person in the world, and people that were absolutely convinced he was the best. And they basically started engaging from completely separate realities. And like,
Interesting.
Yeah, so he has that theory. And the thing is, it's interesting because, you know, since not doing Twitter, I honestly feel way better about everything. And I still get the news because people still send me shit, and it's like in chat rooms, and I check in on truthmatters24.com every other day. But yeah, it's like life.
I got my InfoWars app to keep me updated, bro.
Oh my god. No, it was quite funny.
Rip Alex Jones.
He's still, Alex Jones is still around, isn't he? Like, what's?
Well, I mean, he's Rip on Twitter. Him and apparently Laura Loomer now are also banned.
Yeah, that's what's it? Big media clamping down. What was I going to say? There was a. See, I just lost my train of thought now, which is like not a great sign. Oh, it was News 24. September the 26th was the Parliament
where
hearing.
journalism goes to die.
Like, pretty much. It was interesting because the press ombud actually had to rule in favor of AfriForum. They laid 5 complaints and 1 was granted against Peter du Toit for like grossly misrepresenting AfriForum. But even the press ombud, like, you can read in the ruling that he didn't want to give AfriForum any points, and he's like, fuck it. But basically, yeah, like, there's no way we can argue around this. You know, News 24 did do that, and I think Peter du Toit was ordered to issue an apology, and it was a second ruling against News 24 in like 3 months or something like that. So it's like, it's just, for me, it's like a Greek tragedy when I open up that thing and the pop-up comes up for the paywall, and it's like News 24, Truth Matters. And I'm like, to who? Because not to you guys. Like, it doesn't matter to you.
Clearly not. Oh, by the way, this week's whiskey is black and white, much like our show.
What? I thought we were living in the communist utopia where there are no differences between people. All races and genders are the same. Come on, get with the program.
We are all like amorphous gray blobs that are just the same.
Like, you also realize the NPC meme rose and died in the last like 3 weeks.
Yes. So we're gonna have a fantastic meme review this week, folks. We really are.
Yeah.
We'll try not to disappoint you, much like I do with my parents every day. So
Jesus, dude, what the hell? Come on, you're not that hopeless. Not that I know.
Still, it's like I'm getting a PhD, like a medical one. No, mom, like a computer science PhD. Okay, so tell me when you're gonna be a doctor or a lawyer. I'll be like, never, mom.
So, okay. There are actually tech topics, and it's crazy that we're still not scripting this show. I think again, there was that feedback that somebody asked, "Are you really not scripting it?" And it's like, yes, no, we're not fucking scripting it.
Many people have. It's not even. It's a couple of people have actually asked us. We're like, no. We script this banter. Like, this is totally No, it's.
How do you, dude? Okay.
Like, what? Yeah.
You know what? Basically, this is like live action Scrubs, where so much of the dialogue was just ad-libbed. Because why would you script this? You can't. It's madness.
It's pretty much us. It's pretty much us on our Discord server, except we're doing it in front of a camera.
Yeah, and like, this is one of the few times you can say doing it in front of a camera and not feel weird about it.
Says you, bro. I record all my bedroom escapades.
Oh, shit. Okay, do you really want to disclose that live on YouTube? Because...
Look, bro, think about it this way. I'm like the quarterback of the team. How am I and it's gonna hurt me as a Dolphins fan, as a Miami Dolphins fan, to make this comparison. Imagine I'm Tom Brady, even though he is Satan incarnate. Imagine I'm Tom Brady of the New England Patriots. How am I supposed to get better at the game if I don't review the live playback on Monday morning on tape? Like,
Okay.
really, come on.
Yeah. Okay. No. It's the Barney Stinson defense from How I Met Your Mother, because that was the same logic he used.
Pretty much, yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, actual tech stuff. I think, and we spoke about this last week. The concept of medical nanobots, and there's this. There's a sort of digitization happening everywhere, to the point where someday there will come a time, and I'm convinced it's in our lifetimes, that medical science will get to the point where you have to start writing models to train hardware to cure diseases, as opposed to doing chemistry or that kind of experimentation. So at some point, there's going to be technology involved.
Doctors will become programmers, basically.
Yeah, no, pretty much. I mean, because it's already crazy that the simulations we could do 10 years ago was already pretty incredible, and it just keeps getting better. So at some point, doctors are going to diagnose patients with individual treatments based on their genetics and all that shit. And that's going to require some basic Python probably, because that's the only language we use nowadays. So doctors will become programmers.
Still hurts me deep down that that's the only programming language we use these days.
You could always try doing everything in Rust. All I know about it is that the hipsters who were on Haskell 2 years ago are on Rust now. So I don't know if
because that's the company you want to be a part of. I think I've just pissed off the one person who might watch this that actually writes in Haskell. There was an XKCD. I don't know if you read the XKCD comic.
Every now and then.
But there was one where they basically said anything written in Haskell will be guaranteed to be bug free, and the retort was basically, that's because nobody will ever actually compile that shit.
and this is a legitimate question that I have, because as time goes on, people reinvent the wheel over and over again. We're still watching NPM learn all the lessons that Linux learned 20 years ago with package distribution, which is hilarious because they can just adopt what already exists. But I wonder, do people write these languages because there's genuinely a need for them, or just because they want to build toys that are really fast but functionally useless? Because I can't find where you would use this, and maybe it's just me. I don't know about your side of the world.
I'm inclined to say it's sort of half and half. Some of them genuinely think maybe one day there'll be a use for this, but a lot of them I think also are just fuck it, cool toy, whatever.
Yeah, no, there's a.
By the way, I'll be getting progressively more festive as the weeks lead up to Christmas. The whole suit and everything.
Dude, no, it happens earlier every year, I'm convinced. This isn't just me getting older. They're objectively putting up the decorations and shit. It was end October where the Pick and Pay here started rearranging and putting stuff
I
on
say
shelves.
The day after Thanksgiving is open season for putting up Christmas decorations. I'm sorry. I'm that guy, okay? That house that's just obnoxiously lit up and has laser projections on it, and I mean, if people here in Pretoria, they know that the houses in Lawley Street in Waterkloof, they go all out. They have synchronized light shows and animatronics and shit on the lawn, and
animatronics, Jesus.
Yeah, little waving and fake snow on the windows, fake snow spray on the windows. We have that at my I spend Christmas with my mom. We have that at my mom's house. We're that house.
Wow.
We have a laser projector, synchronized light shows, big snow in the windows.
That's crazy. The most I'll do, and the reason I'm changing the camera angle is I'm gonna put a Christmas tree right there, so it's in frame, and that'll be the only thing I do that's Christmas related. So all my calls,
bro, we going all out, bro. We're that family, and kids in the neighborhood come by to the house to see our display and stuff, and me and my brother sitting around getting drunk off our asses off whiskey and this. Yeah.
So it's a traditional Christmas. Like that's how I know it from my time on Earth. That is traditional Christmas. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah. So we would not be out of place in somewhere in the Midwest of the United States because we'd fit right in with that over decoration stuff. And yeah.
Nice. Yeah. I guess it's better than like a Hillbrow Christmas, which, as I understand, is mostly just people throwing bottles at each other. But I wouldn't.
Oh, and windows TVs out of the windows. So
a couple of years ago, I very rarely watch SABC. Like, I don't even have a TV, basically. I have a display unit for Netflix. That's what I've got.
I think that's everyone these days, though. Like, seriously,
Oh, yeah.
we'll get to that in a second. That's another tech thing. Like,
Yeah, but I just remember it was like years ago. I saw that there was someone actually had footage of like a police raid in Hillbrow, like around kind of like early December once, and on camera somebody pushed a washing machine out of a window, and it like slammed into the pavement, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? I just
outstanding.
like that is that is like
I give that two Christmas baubles out of 5.
Like the other thing, many years ago, when was it? 2007. For reasons that I won't go into to protect the identities of the innocent, I spent a couple of days in Hillbrow, and it was a moment of like self-actualization.
Smart move.
Yeah, I'm not going to name anyone. And basically, because I'd watched a lot of like sort of, what was it, like Johnny Mnemonic and the RoboCop movies, and you have these kind of dystopian rundown cities, and a defining feature is like a bunch of homeless people gathered around a fire in a barrel. Like you always see that in these old movies. I saw that in Hillbrow. I was like, I got to stand there and watch people actually do this. And I'm like, I can take this off my bucket list. I never knew I had it on there, but now I know what it's like to be in a city like that, and I am done. Like I know how this feels now. So, yeah. Anyway, Netflix. Is DSTV still a thing? Because every time I see they're losing subscribers.
They are like hemorrhaging. You know what they're like? They're like a YouTube channel that used to be the business like a year ago, and now they're just slowly like hemorrhaging subscribers. Just
So like everything that Ray William Johnson did like 10 years ago.
oh, oh.
Dude.
Well, to be fair, he did get to do Anna O'Connor, so you know, I'm forever jealous because of that.
I only say that because like I remember his channel was like one of the original big ones when like promoters and agents started getting involved and it started like becoming a thing, and then he just quit or he faded out. I don't know what the deal was, but he's my example of
There's a couple of them, like him, Leafy's here. There were a bunch of vlog channels. Hold on, let me just bring up like, because I have this theory, and I think I've actually it's not even a theory at this point anymore. It's a nearly proven thing. Let me just bring this up for a second. Like, what, for those of you who don't know who Anna O'Connor actually is, just to share this for a second, okay?
All right.
This is
I
Anna.
her, yes.
Okay. Now let's Google Ray William. Now we know what Ray William Johnson looks like, right?
I remember what he used to look like. I don't know if that's changed.
So
why
like,
does that?
So
Dude.
that's the quality of girl a guy like Ray William Johnson can get in the States. I've come to this this consensus that like women in the United States are, how do I say this without pissing off like 100 million women?
Yeah, don't do it, dude. Don't do it. Where's the it's time to stop meme? Where's that picture with the dude with the clock? Just it's time to stop.
I will not complete that sentence. I will let you complete it in the best possible way. Imagine I said those words.
Yeah, fill in the blank. It's like choose your own adventure, but for Twitter. So it's choose your own outrage, where you just read whatever you want and get upset about it.
You can imagine I said the worst possible set of words after that, or I magically, brilliantly came up with something awesome to say after that.
Yeah. And by the way, guys, this is proof that none of this is scripted or edited. This is literally like a single 1 hour recording, no breaks.
One take, let's do it. But I mean, honestly, like, I mean, my, and I guess I'm sort of straying into sort of dating and stuff. Yeah, like just like over the years I've spent in the US, like I find that maybe South Africa is 10, 15 years behind culturally, like, because like people like in terms of dating and like all that shit, they're just so much less full of themselves. Like they're very direct and just, yeah.
It's, you know what, so, okay, uh, back to like the only theme that I'm keeping on this show is the fact that I've been off Twitter for a month. Part of that has been thinking a lot more about the impact that technology has, just because it's my business. Like what I actually do for a living is figuring this stuff out. And America was the country that invented, popularized, and embedded Tinder in the culture to a point where it's like ridiculous. And yes, from that perspective, it's definitely, they've been through more shit. I don't know if they're advanced, but they're definitely more mature in that they've been through this sort of fundamental change in the way dating works, in quite a crazy way. And the thing that boggles me, and this is like, for me, it's weird. It's that America, and like from my perspective, and I know that there's a couple of Americans that would disagree with this, I'm sure, but Americans have this very puritanical outlook while also, just being human beings. So like for me, the best example is Utah is like a Mormon state. They have these huge temples. It's very religious. And they're like the number one source of traffic to Pornhub every year. Like, this is a weird contradiction.
Gotta bust a nut, bro. When that nut must bust, the nut must bust. Gotta bust a nut, bro.
Yeah, if you want, and this is a real thing, and
the power of boners is greater than any other power ever.
Well, that is true. Like most stories in the Bible actually like revolve around the power of boners. If you want proof, yeah, exactly. And so this is real. It exists. You can look it up. Pornhub Research. They have a data analytics blog where they do charts on what people watch, what they do, and everything like that.
It's like Pornhub by state.
Oh,
by state.
Yeah, there's a bunch. I'm sure you can find it. And among other interesting
the state's most popular Pornhub research term.
That's one of them.
I'm not sure I really want to bring this up right now.
Yeah, let's not get further demonetized than 0.
Because I have to say, I'm just going to say that the Midwest is pretty much what I expected it to be. New Jersey and New Hampshire, New York, the Eastern Seaboard, California, pretty much what I expected to be. And the South, wow, very surprising, very surprising.
Yeah. So
the search term.
Totally real thing. I would actually suggest everyone look it up, and I'll find a link to their actual blog. For me, there's a chart somewhere. It's like it was search and video volume during like the last Super Bowl last year. And there's like, around like mid-game break, there's like a 10, 15-minute break, whatever, and Pornhub recorded a major spike in traffic. People just kind of going onto the side halfway through the game.
Well, I mean, look, while your team's getting fucking thrashed, you might as well rub one out to get over the aggression. By the way, I'd like to point out that my team has yet to win a Super Bowl in the last like fucking 15 years or whatever, and it deeply upsets me.
I don't like, dude, sports ball is like another universe to me. I just think it's funny that every time people talk about their team, it's always in the context of them losing. I'm like, oh, do teams ever win any games? Because I never hear people going, my team wins everything.
Seriously, go on Twitter, actually, and I really hope she doesn't watch this or hear this. Go on Twitter and search the red-headed libertarian, really cool chick, whatever, and she constantly talks about the New England Patriots and how much they're winning, because they are always winning, fucking cheating pieces of shit. And
so even when they're winning, it's not honest winning. Like, what's the point?
Fuck the Patriots. Seriously. If you're a Patriots fan, then except for one or two of my mates who know who they are and I love them to death, but if you're a Patriots fan, then fuck you. If you are a Atlanta Falcons fan, fuck you.
For me, this is just like it's a foreign country. Like I analyze it, but I don't really participate.
Oh, and if you're an Eagles fan, like they are like the worst of the worst. Except for Liz Finnegan, who I actually was involved with a Twitter beef with about a year ago. Her and I and Talib Kweli, the rapper, all got into it. Was her and I versus Talib Kweli. It was an actual thing. I should Google this.
So basically, Odin is like the soap drama component of this 2-person show.
I am.
I'm just like a data nerd behind a screen constantly. Like that. That's how I live. Yeah, I couldn't fathom what you do every day. So, what are you looking up there?
Twitter bullshit. Yes. On Reddit, Talib Kweli has attacked Liz Finnegan. She's actually a really cool lady. All morning, saying she needs to be responsible for all tweets made by a person she responded to with an emoji. And the person she responded to was me.
Oh my god, dude, you're famous. But like not in a good way.
So let me just screen share this real quick. But I actually chatted to her about it, like DM'd her, and she was actually rather cool about it.
Twitter is
so
I have a love-hate relationship with this.
So you laughed and engaged with this guy. How are you not responsible to the Ginger Rocky Liz Finnegan, who's an awesome lady? And there's my
That's what you
my
posted.
old Twitter tag. Talib Kweli Green, a guy who has millions and millions of followers, is just it's I don't know what.
Oh my god!
I think I was actually in that Reddit thread as well. It's just.
God, this is the thing about Twitter, right? Because like I genuinely I like the concept, and I believe that like communication and sharing can have like huge positive upsides, and it's like a good thing to do. I just have yet to find a way to engage with it that doesn't leave me feeling like depressed or overwhelmed. And it's like it's shit like this where it's like just the.
Sorry, and then there was Ben Shapiro on this as well.
All right, we're gonna.
He was involved in this because I said something mildly fucking positive about Ben Shapiro, and he's Talib Kweli, and then Liz responded to it, and Talib like got on it. I'm like, holy shit, this has just got. Yeah, okay, I can't find the exact one, but I was like, holy shit, this just got out of hand completely. And it's
Well, but that is Twitter's core strength, right? It's just blowing things out of proportion. So, for example, and we do actually have a local story that again burned through the system and subsided in the last couple of days, which was the momentum reversal on the life claim thing. Do you feel like discussing an upsetting financial services topic?
I do. As soon as I can get my my bearings back. Yeah. Well, that and alien signals from space. But let's discuss momentum first.
Yeah. All right. So a quick recap then. I'll just because when the story broke, whenever there's a story where like some company looks like they're behaving like a huge bunch of dicks, I always figure, no, there's a good reason they did this, and I try and find what that is. So the short story is that...
because as it turns out, being gigantic dicks isn't great for business. So they're probably not actually being gigantic dicks.
Yeah, like if you were an insurer that rejected every claim, no one would insure with you. That's just how it works. But anyway, so this guy was at age 39, like between ages 39 and 40... 39 and 42... He'd had 5 tests for a blood sugar condition that showed abnormal readings, and for some reason he was never diagnosed with a problem or put on any chronic medication for it. Now the thing is, I look at that and I go, it's possible that they try to cheat the system, but there's like a small chance that the GP was a fucking idiot and didn't know how to read those forms. So it's just like a reminder, if you think that every GP is equally qualified, they're not. Doctors are like plumbers, you get really bad ones. If you seriously upgrade, if you think your doctor is not giving you the best advice. But then he went and applied for life insurance, and a couple of years later he was gunned down, brutal circumstances, and they refused to pay out because had he been honest, he would not have been extended cover. And so on that basis, Momentum rejected the claim, and the internet blew the fuck up. But my favorite part,
And of course,
yeah,
702 had to get involved, and people had to call in and
uh,
fuck the companies and Bongani Bingwa and fucking everybody on 702 like.
yeah, it's like the optics, right, of a large company denying the claim to a widower of a man who was shot down in his driveway defending her with his life. It's like really bad optics. You do not want to be in that situation. So Momentum, like just the business decision should have been, you know what, we'll make an exception because this is not going to be good for us. But anyway, for me, the part that was amazing was every time something like this happens, it exposes how little financial literacy there is in South Africa. To the point where somebody like canceled their Momentum policy and posted the cancellation on Twitter. And it was like, oh, look at me, I am canceling. And you actually look at the thing, and at the bottom, he canceled with Momentum short-term insurance, a completely different company that had nothing to do with life.
I have a serious question. I have a serious question though. I wonder how many people who grandstanded morally on Twitter, like, "Oh, I'm canceling with Momentum." First of all, let's assume, and this is a massive assumption, that they were just being giant dicks, even though, let's be honest, they really weren't. He lied. He breached his contract. It was null and void, etc., etc. How many people who grandstanded on Twitter actually canceled their policies? I
Yeah,
have a feeling. Have you even applied for life insurance? I have. It's a schlep. Canceling it, a schlep. I guarantee you, a
yeah.
bunch of people who don't. I mean, like my life insurance, everything is in my brother's name, which may not be the smartest thing to do because he could murder me tomorrow and he would or arrange for me to have a weird accident
Right,
and he
right.
would become incredibly wealthy very quickly. So
Um,
luckily I
yeah,
haven't told him. So,
yeah.
yeah. And
So
he doesn't watch the show. So yeah.
that's good that he doesn't watch. Let's get a nice shot of you drinking that whiskey there. So, okay, Insurance 101, because I just, it's my mission in life when people don't know something to try and help them understand why things are the way they are.
Exactly. And I can tell you from a mathematical perspective when you're done, like I can
Yeah.
tell you from a mathematical perspective based on my dissertation, like how
So,
one like little
so
factor affects everything.
yeah, so in like the vernacular, you can show the receipts. Like I think for this. So like just FYI, insurance is not they can't print money, right? Every claim that gets paid out comes from contributions. The whole thing is a risk pool where they have to decide, everyone paying into it, what likelihood is it that they'll claim, and they have to balance everything so that people that need to claim can claim. Because there is no such thing as a permanent guarantee in this world. There just isn't. So with the insurance stuff, it's vital that you stick to your life insurance, especially because if you start young and early, your premiums are a lot lower because they calculate you can pay in for many more years on average before something happens to you. So here's the thing, like two numbers, right? First, I doubt anyone, or I doubt any more than like maybe a couple hundred people at most would have inquired about canceling, let alone cancelled because of this. Because everyone who's cancelled it's been explained to them that, this is how the system works. All the forms were quite clear. Cancelling is like not really advisable, but let's say that they did. I went and I did some homework, and back in 2014.
I have the forms actually.
Oh, you have the.
By the not the cancellation form.
Yeah, but the.
I can show you the forms. It's part of my dissertation, like risk and
Yeah.
well, it was for retirement portfolios, but it's similar to
Yeah.
life insurance. I can show you in a second.
But here's the other thing, right? So, Twitter in South Africa has a good couple of million users, active or not, I don't know. In 2014, Momentum claimed that they had over 500,000 people on life insurance. That's less than 1% of the country. It's probably closer to 1.1% now. Between all insurers, I'd be shocked if it's more than 3 to 4% in aggregate of people in South Africa that can afford life insurance. And the people that can afford it will not let it go. They won't just It's not a phone contract. It's not like, Vodacom stiffed you on a bill, so now you're cancelling an outrage. This is a financial decision that has like impact on your family down the line. You don't just cancel that stuff. So I think a lot of people grandstanded, and if they were challenged, they would just delete the tweets because, again, Twitter is just a game for numbers. You can make up any shit you want and you'll get traction. And that's what people do. So disappointing.
Yeah. Yeah.
and then just it was the guy that cancelled with the short-term insurance was for me pretty funny because there's no way he was paying like more than like 150 rand a month for whatever he had. And then there were other people that if anyone says this to you, this is like a litmus test for financial illiteracy. When people say that there's some kind of conspiracy where these people take the money, invest it, then earn interest on it, and then pay that money back to you, or pay you back the base amount. If people say shit like that, it proves that they don't understand how any of the stuff works. So whenever there's like, oh, but they get to hold the interest. Yeah, interest, and again, we did the math. We estimated they were probably paying about 350 Rand a month for 3 years. So when Momentum refunded the premiums, they would have refunded maybe around 13,000 Rand. Far less than the 50,000 Rand cash benefit those people got out of it, which Momentum wrote off. And a lot less than, you would think from this company that supposedly makes a lot of interest off your money. Like, take 10,000 Rand, put it in the stock market and see how far you get. It's not as far as you think. So you got forms.
It's true. I actually do. I have the forms, and I actually have my dissertation I just pulled out. Although I technically, according to Tux, there's certain parts I can't show. So I'm trying to pull up parts that won't get me sued.
Yeah, this is the education portion of the show. This is like, what was that? It's still a thing. Like when I was growing up, like on SABC3, there was like the learning channel.
That dude who is like, what is his name? That dude who taught us all about math. Fuck. Yeah, he had that booming ass voice.
It was like the Liberty Learning Channel or something, and then they had they had a guy talking, and then there was a camera that pointed down at like a whiteboard where they would like do equations and like teach you basic high school math. That was a long time ago.
Okay, so I can show you like one part of the formula for the optimization. Let me just screen share this quick. It seems fairly simple to people who actually understand the math behind it, but yeah. Okay, so this is just like simple. One section of my dissertation is basically what I'm trying to do here is minimize the variance in the mean variance model based on the Markowitz portfolio model. And God help you if you change any even 0.1% of any of these values, you're fucked. So if somebody who has there's a whole bunch of shit about covariance and portfolio weighting of the assets and all that, and this is just for retirement. Never mind things like life insurance, because that you can go for hours with that. There's an incrediable amount of information on that. So my point with this whole like grandstanding thing is, as you said, it's people, grandstanded, people did that, but I doubt that they actually understand how much goes in.
I doubt that they have life insurance. I mean, again,
I doubt that they understand that if you change one little thing, anything here, the amount that it varies is incredible, so
no, it really is like, taking one part out of like a complicated
and it's unfair to everyone. Also, it's unfair to everyone, not just it's like, you're screwing over everyone. This is a ripple effect, so
So end of the day, Momentum, and this is the thing, because again, they announced, and everyone overlooked the fact that in this year alone, they've paid out some absurd number in the billions in claims, because nobody ever talks about the fact nobody ever talks about it when people do the work they're supposed to be doing, like paying out insurance claims. The amount that Momentum doesn't pay out due to this reason was like 0.4% of all claims that they said.
Exactly. So ultimately, life insurance is a bet. You're betting that something bad will happen to me, and they're betting something bad won't happen to you, and they're betting that on average, no bad things will happen to most of you. So, I mean, it's... I know I make anti-socialist memes all the time on Twitter, but it's socialized healthcare, sort of an aspect of it, because you're all paying in to one pool and you're betting that most of you will be fine, and the minority of you won't be fine, and your money will go to them. And should you ever need it, you'll be in the minority where the money will go to you.
Yeah.
That's what healthcare is,
And
or life insurance or
yeah,
anything.
it's because we cannot predict the future. The best we can do is analyze trends and attempt to mitigate. So it's always funny to me because, again, I had the same feeling. People go, oh, at this point I've paid so much into my life insurance that I could have bought a house, which is like, no, I doubt that. But even then,
technically you could. I mean, you could have started day one. You could have taken your premiums and put it in a savings account all the time and just left it there. But the thing is, if something happens before that critical mass point whereby you have enough money to straight up pay for whatever you need, if something happens before then, you're fucked.
yeah.
So
Because at that point, the only way out is to take on debt, right? To take a loan and pay it back,
And
which will be
in
way
fact,
more
even if-
expensive.
in fact, it's justifiable that you could say there is no critical mass point, because who knows how bad of a thing could happen to you. That like I think you need to save in a savings account for many years before you reach a critical mass point whereby you could afford literally anything bad that could happen to you.
Yeah.
Whereas with insurance, it's from day one you're good. So yeah.
And that's actually like the real miracle of this, right? Because we're living in a world where it's like bad shit happens, and we can predict it to some extent enough that we can make sure that a car crash or being shot doesn't ruin you financially, because that would just destroy you. And all they ask in return is like a couple $100 a month, and to be honest on your disclosures. Like,
exactly.
That's what drives me mad.
So many people on my and so many people on my Twitter stream, on my WhatsApp groups, they're like, "Oh, Momentum are such assholes," and I'm sort of sitting there. I'm just like, yeah, I don't think you have any sort of financial literacy or anything like that.
So again,
I like my own policy. Like I say I drink a fair bit, but guess what? I also cycle. Up until a couple of months ago, rock climb regularly, and I'm a computer programmer, and they factored all of that in as risk factors and all that, like your lifestyle, your occupation, how dangerous it is. It's
exactly.
A hell of a lot of probability.
Yeah, and like in my case, and again, I'll disclose this, I'm diabetic, right? And I've known about this for years. The exact same condition that the guy didn't disclose in his Momentum paperwork, I disclosed it to Liberty. They sent someone to do a test. They verified yes, but they.
Well, I'm not diabetic, but yeah, I disclosed that I drink a fair bit. Yeah.
And it's like, they didn't deny me life insurance because I started a lot earlier than 39. And I was honest, and I could prove that I was managing the condition. I'm on medication. I'm seeing a doctor for it. So they're like, cool. Because it's not about how healthy you are. It's about the risk model, which is why Momentum said it. And like a lot of people were like, oh, what if I take out insurance and then I develop a disease and then they won't pay out? I'm like, no, they say that up front. If you develop a new condition like halfway in, that's one of the risks they mitigate for in the way that they do the models. So you only have to be honest at the point of application. And if you're honest there, you're set. And it's a numbers game ultimately. So like it boggles me that people were like, they would rather try and save.
In fact, I can show you the actual risk profile for Liberty because it's actually in the public domain. And I can tell you like the actual things that they insure for. Like, it's insane. I don't have the Momentum one because that's not public domain, but I can I can quickly screen share and show you guys like some of the things that they have to calculate for real quick. Just
and just while you do that, like the last thought on this is that assuming that they were acting in good faith and they had a GP who was dog shit and never told the guy that he was supposed to go on chronic meds, and assuming he got a quote at that age to get on life insurance, whatever he was quoted, he would have saved a small amount comparatively if he would have saved a small amount if he didn't disclose his condition. So I think if he disclosed it, they would have given him a different offer and it would have been valid and he would have been able to go on it.
And they could have accounted for that. I mean, like, if you look at this Liberty profile, I mean, there's obviously the age factor under 31.
So like this is exactly the form I filled in, by the way.
Yeah. So there you go. I mean, and there's other ones. There's I mean, I had to translate these for my dissertation into mathematical models. Let's see.
Yeah. So just like the only bit of financial services, like the portion of this show, fucking just save, get insurance, and just realize that, you know, you're paying a couple $100 a month, and the only reason it works is that there's like 100,000 people doing the same thing.
Investec.
And that's why you're able to get this.
It's the same. It's a similar questions, sort of, you know, like your age, your main objective. You know, I mean, these were for retirement portfolios, but concepts, you know, transcribe, you know.
I want to so just the last thing on this, and I think this says something about South Africa, and you were the one who actually brought this up a while ago. Whatever happened to the VAT bro? Remember that?
VAT bro? Bro, do you know what VAT is? I'll say it so that you don't get banned off YouTube. You know what? Blacks like you don't know what VAT is. Fucking blacks. I'm like, okay, firstly, VAT bro, I can tell you went to private school, as did I, except I'm not going to fucking rage out because some chick wouldn't want to sleep with me. So
the only VAT, the first thing I thought, because again, I don't know, he just sounds insane, but it's like, just FYI, as a company, you have to pay VAT if you turnover is R1 million or more every year. That's it. That's all it means. It doesn't mean anything more than that. It does not mean you're extremely rich. It doesn't mean anything. So that's actually really funny.
And in terms of business, R1 million is almost nothing.
Yeah, it's R1 million is so small that there's like the tax floors for like turnover tax start above that. You know, like that's really.
I mean,
not
think
that
about
much.
it like in terms of software developers, right? Let's say your median salary is about 40K a month.
Yep. That's
over 12 months. Even if you don't get a 30 check, you can see instantly from that just how much one software developer's salary per year chews up R1 million a month.
Yep.
R1 million a year, sorry.
Yep. So, I mean, if you like that in a small business, 3 employees, a good couple of customers, you can hit $1 million turnover easy. I know a company that consists of 2 people and 3 contractors, and they make far more than that every year. So VAT it's paperwork. That's all it really is. And also, just by the way, everyone in South Africa knows about VAT now because of the hike. So everyone knows what VAT is. So you can't use that anymore.
Although from a cultural perspective, and a lot of black girls commented this on Twitter, is that VAT bro is basically that guy, that black male that went to private school who, let's be honest, primarily romantically is linked to non-black girls, and he probably got involved with this girl and who was black, and she didn't want to get into the bedroom with him, and he felt insulted that for once he changed back to, let's say, the sisters, and they rejected him even though he's supposedly supposed to be getting that easily, and that speaks to the arrogance of sort of the upper middle class or upper class black male who went to a private school, that like they can't believe that a black girl would turn them down. That's the real cultural thing there.
And also statistically, he probably doesn't save for retirement anyway, so it doesn't matter in 20 years.
I've been saving for retirement since like my second. I've been saving for retirement for almost a decade now. So yeah.
Yeah, no, same here. My financial education came in the form of an unsecured loan when I had no fucking idea what interest rates were. It was actually the cheapest education you could get. I mean, in the end, it cost me about 12 grand over the course of a year to learn everything I needed to know about compound interest, paying things off, debt structures, you name it.
I come from a family of doctors, lawyers, and accountants, so yeah.
So, and like, here's the other, this is like the thing that drives me nuts.
Black bourgeoisie, as we're called, by the communist uprising.
Yeah, don't worry, my pitchfork is safely locked away in the pitchfork safe. So yeah, just like the last thing I want to say about this, because we still have to talk about space elevators, because we promised each other we would.
Space elevators and space messages, and then we can get to the meme review.
Yeah. So just like for me, the funny thing is actually that the economy, the systems by which people accumulate wealth, the whole capitalist manifesto, all that stuff. It's not witchcraft. It's not magic. It's not preordained by God. It is a system that anyone can learn and apply and be diligent and save and accumulate wealth. So it boggles me that people seem to think that it's either magic or it's stolen. That's like the number one thing.
Yeah,
So
you stole, or maybe you provided a product that gave value to these people, and now they're
yeah,
enjoying fruits of that.
yeah, it's like again, just because
My
someone,
uncle is a
yeah,
neurosurgeon. I'm not mad that he drives a Lamborghini, a Porsche Cayenne, a this and this. No, really, he does. And for his birthday this year, he drove his Lamborghini to Sun City. Am I
nice.
mad? Does he not deserve that? I think he does because
It's a neurosurgeon, yeah. No, so it's just like for me, it's always funny because, and we'll get onto this on future shows, I'm sure. Is there are socialists on Twitter who seem to think that because the CEO of a company like ShopRite earns a huge multiple over the average cashier, that's profoundly unfair. But they never talk about the fact that ShopRite pays out billions in salaries every year, of which the CEO
also,
earns a tiny
who are you
percentage.
to decide what is fair in this world? Like,
Yeah, every time people try that, you end up with like Stalinist Russia. So okay, dude, we should probably talk about our sponsor now, don't you think?
yes, we should.
All right, so
And now, a message from our sponsor.
who are we sponsored by?
We are sponsored by Eastern Technology
Oh
and
yes.
Knowledge.
So
Because it's
Eastern
the end
Technology.
of the fetishization of the West. No,
So it was just
we
it's
just lost a bunch of subscribers, like all 3 subscribers, and
yeah
like everyone that's following the show's account. Just
yeah.
like
So it's like we were doing badly, but yeah, this might come as a shock to people that think the Nobel Prize is the highest level of scientific achievement. It's not. And I know that it's not because they hand them out on schedule every time. China's National Science Prize, they don't hand it out sometimes because they don't feel like good enough science was done. So you want to talk about high standards, China has it. Specifically, there was I think, do you still have that meme I sent you with the China space elevator versus what the West is focusing on? Because I think it captures things quite perfectly.
I think I still do actually.
Yeah, I need to figure out how to actually share my screen from this side so I can also bring stuff up. I will. But anyway, yeah, Eastern Science, they are catching up, and right now I think China has the best material science, and they are likely to be able to develop the tether necessary to construct and operate a space elevator, which would be like, the space elevator would be like the internal combustion engine. It would just change everything about everything. So I think China might
Space
actually own
elevator,
it.
general artificial intelligence, like those are 2 things that'll just like
I'm-
destroy everything we know.
Yeah, although I'm less convinced that, I don't think there is any intelligence on Earth, so I don't know how we could possibly create artificial intelligence. So it's a very misanthropic view, but not untrue.
You're going with the you're going with ye old pessimistic view of things. Yes, I think I just found the
Yeah, no, it's not pessimism. It's just that.
oh no, it's
we
not
don't-
on my WhatsApp. I think it was on our Discord server, which we're
Nice.
shamelessly plugging.
Yeah, nice segue. So for the first time, we're actually mentioning it that we have a little Discord server on which we just talk shit like most of the time, but it's this exact same kind of banter and links and stuff back and forth. There'll be a link
And
to
if
it.
you want to abuse us, you can abuse us there.
Yes. Yeah, you can tell us exactly what you think of our T-shirts and our horrible camera setups. So, yeah, the link will be on Twitter.
I did find that the China's Tsinghua University may soon top the world in science research.
Yeah, yeah.
Much
Also-
much to the dismay of Western sort of fetishists and
That's just what
that
I
sort
call
of
them.
thing.
Yeah, so...
Which isn't to say that the West doesn't do a grand amount of shit. That's
Yeah, they do.
they
But
did.
it's basically like Idiocracy. Like, if you haven't seen Idiocracy, I highly recommend it because it opens with the intro that the world's smartest scientists were basically working on fake hair and penis pills. And that's kind of like what America is doing. China, on the other hand, they're going to dominate in like the next 100 years. So basically, if like 2 bits of advice: learn how to save and start learning some Mandarin. I think you might need it in the next 10
I,
years.
for one, welcome our Chinese overlords because I've always had a thing for the Asian persuasion. So
Yeah, you see, everyone has their own thing that they look for in like a given situation, and obviously we know what yours is now. So that's cool.
never made a secret of it.
Meme review. All right, let's.
No, wait,
cover
one more
this off.
thing.
Oh,
One more thing. I made a really innocuous little fucking tweet because I was talking about because occasionally I tried to talk tech on my personal Twitter, and I made my
It doesn't
personal.
work, by the way. Just like
It doesn't. I know, but
yeah,
I'm
you
gonna
see,
try anyway.
between the two of us, Odin is like you're basically like the sort of the drunkard in the town square causing drama on social media because.
Am I? I'm like the drunken. I'm like the Rick.
I'm more
drunk,
than that.
but-
No, you know what? You actually are the Rick because you're the one that's actually done the science and you're an alcoholic. So perfect.
Exactly. Like I'm. The Morty, whatever.
Oh, did you see that Adult Swim got or ordered or whatever 70 more episodes of Rick and Morty? I don't know if it's true or not. I just see this flying around everywhere.
I cannot wait to walk into another McDonald's and have some dude screaming for fucking Szechuan sauce. Awesome. So great. Yeah.
It's like that was the best thing of ever because Rick's whole thing is that he hates society because people are so stupid and he's so smart. And so just to like prove a point, people got really fucking stupid over this Mulan sauce, you know? I won't even call it by its proper name because it's that demeaning. That people would actually queue up and demand this sauce. Like that's just, it is like it's the least Rick thing you could do and still claim to be a fan of the show. It's just so stupid. But
It's just the thing, like, because I mean, I've gotten emails, like, I mean, obviously, you know, as you know, I do some research associated to certain research institutes that I'm not going to say online for sake of my life, but yeah, you know, when they say certain things and do certain things, I'm just like, oh yes, sit there in the corner, I'm just like.
yeah.
I could say this, but it's gonna kill my research career because I genuinely enjoy doing research. I do enjoy doing science, and I do enjoy doing research. It's my thing.
Yeah.
But last tech
Figuring
thing.
out how to make the world a better place is a noble pursuit. So last tech thing, and then we need to do our memes. So what's
really
the last
fast.
tech thing?
Okay, so
Check this
I
out.
innocuously said, "Oh wow, I have 3 WhatsApp messages. Let's not open those up."
Yeah, no, I don't want to see that either.
So I very innocuously said my personal top 5 terrifying messages we could receive from deep space, from another civilization. 5, surrender. 4, we're on our way. No context. 3, hide/run. 2, help us. 1, it's too late. And I said surrender because, you know, they could be miles away or they could have probes in our system. Because the thing about probes is that von Neumann probes could be sitting in our system right now, and we've barely explored our system.
Yep.
If I could put it in an analogy, we, in terms of exploration, we're like, we know all the bodies that are here, but that doesn't mean anything. What we've effectively done, if our solar system was a house, is that we've looked in every door so that we know what type of room each room is, but we haven't really looked under the beds or in the cupboards of every room. So
Yeah, and just incidentally, we know more about space than we do about our own ocean. So just bear that in mind too.
exactly, they could the probes could be sitting in our own planet. There's number 4, we're on our way, which actually I should have made number 1, which is horrifies me personally the most because it doesn't. Are they going to give us cold fusion or are they going to absolutely obliterate us?
For my money, I think it's both because I think the most realistic thing is that a benevolent alien race will make the mistake of giving more primitive species advanced technology and then they will fuck it up. So a bit like America trying to install democracy in the Middle East, like that, but with technology. That would be my bet.
Then there's number 3, run, hide, because they could be threatening us, or they could be telling us, dudes, shut the hell up. People can hear you. Just hide because they're coming.
Yeah.
Then there's number 2, which is, I think, is kind of tragic. Help us. They could be losing the war against somebody else, or they could be sort of tidally locked to their planet. You know, their planet could have such a massive gravity well that they cannot get off it, but they can transmit signals. Like they're stuck there. And then there's number 1, which is it's too late, because that could mean a million things. It's horrifying. It's sad. It's just, it's just. But there was a bunch of responses to this, and I have to say there was a cool one by Roscoe there, land, and then there was one by Belleville Pete there. You have a nice penis, which makes sense considering the golden disc we sent them we sent them nudes into space. Skulk, new phone who dis, laying eggs in your chest, good old conscious caracal, outside open up. And then, surprisingly enough, the most surprising is my boy Glassman. He's like, yeah, I'm down for all of them. Earth go hard, because who cares? You know, Independence Day. Let's just punch them in the face and shoot them down. But the most surprising one of this tweet was that Germ quoted my tweet, and he said, South Africa's most, what was his profile? Like 34th favorites.
Oh, it's the 39th most popular cartoonist or something like that.
39th popular cartoonist, and he said, we're bringing Bitcoin. I was like, that stings.
Sick.
That stings. That is personally painful for me.
Yeah, that is quite a burn. Yeah.
That is personally painful for me. And
okay, this is new. My camera decided to. There we go. It's back. Technology, man. Yeah, Bitcoin. So
personally painful to me, but we'll get to space elevators and memes in 2 minutes and wrap this up.
Yeah, so just if you haven't been tracking Bitcoin prices lately, it's down to like $4,300. I think what's happening is this is Mt. Gox 2.0 with Tether, so the price is going to go a lot lower, and I think maybe this carnival might be ending. So, we'll see. But okay, space elevators, right? What did you want to say about them? Because we're already kind of over our limit here. So.
Oh yeah, a little bit. They're awesome, and China is doing a good job at developing them, despite what the Western fetishists say. The West is best.
Yeah, exactly that. So I just want to, when we say Western fetishists, it's people who just blindly accept that Western science is the best. It's not, if you've ever been in the US and you've seen the way they advertised pharmaceuticals, like within 2 minutes you realize, actually, no, there's nothing about this that makes sense. But also just something to think about is that every major civilization in the world has one thing in common. They got to power through the provision of roads. The ability to connect people and goods, which a space elevator would profoundly affect. So whoever gets there first, it's like winning the actual space race. Like, you know, putting boots on the moon was nice for the PR. Putting a space elevator up means you can start owning the space around Earth. And that's like a whole next level for us. And I'm pretty sure China will get there before the US. Because people don't seem to understand why space is important anymore.
Well, that, and from a sort of economic perspective, is that once you have space elevators, it cuts the cost of launching stuff into space. The per kilogram cost of stuff, putting stuff into space. It's just.
Yeah, there's some estimates where the per kilo cost of, depending on the space elevator, the per kilo cost would be on par with trying to ship something halfway around the world, which is like insane if we can get to that point. But okay, I think we should talk about space elevators more on the next one, if you remember. While you bring up our memes, I'm hoping you've got some good ones.
I've got the first and foremost. This is gonna have to be a blitz thing because here lies moth memes.
Sad.
It's just
moth memes lasted for like 3 weeks.
It was my favorite meme of the year.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be honest.
And just like a moth, they flew too close to the sun and perished, like so fast.
It did, and it's done, and
Yeah, and we're over. It's just so sad.
and it personally hurts me, to be honest. It really does. And
It's okay. Well, we will always have Tide Pods.
next meme. That was my best Ben Shapiro impression.
Yes. Are you gonna bring the screen share back up though?
I will, unless
gotta dig
you
it out
have
first.
any meme you care for particularly.
So many. I think I will figure out how to do the meme review next time. It's just more difficult because I'm the one doing the recording, but I'll figure out how to flip through the memes that I want to share.
Okay, and the other one that I love is that Tide Pods. This is a thing.
I already think I know what you're going to bring up on the screen, and it's already funny, but bring it up anyway.
Because apparently this is a thing. Fucking Tide Pod. Yes!
Oh.
Let's just make it. This is great.
And the thing is, the colors are so appealing. It looks delicious. It looks like a rich orange drink, you know?
Oh, yes. Let's just poison a giant chunk of our population. Let's do that. Let's do that.
It's like, I remember the good old days where conspiracy theorists were like, America is putting fluoride in the water to control everyone's minds. But people are so stupid, they will drink Tide Pods for like internet fame. You don't need fluoride in the water, or chemtrails. Just give people YouTube and like webcams and they'll do this shit themselves. It's amazing. So cool. Yeah, you're looking like that whiskey is getting to you, man.
A little bit.
Yeah, I can tell.
It's been a long week. A
Yeah.
very long week.
Dude, it's just been a time warp. All right, so I think that is us for this week. So this is our first announcement of our actual Discord server. Link will be posted everywhere. Come join and chat. There's way more memes, I promise. A lot less of just rambles. And I think, will we be back again next week? Because December is always like a fuzzy month.
We will be back because unlike the girl that promised you or promise you to call you back or whatever, we will be back. We will do that. We will fulfill our promise.
Yeah, even if, again, like today, we have to leave an hour-long voicemail because the internet itself is under strain. But yeah, so we'll be back again next week, hopefully with less sad topics. Just nobody do anything crazy for the next week, please.
Rip Stanley, and he's a hero, and yeah.
Yeah, it's madness, but yeah, rest in peace, Stanley, you absolute goddamn legend for everything that you did. Peace out.